It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up. Welcome. You're listening to Bucked Up with Sam Buck.
Fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you have fucked up.
Yeah, we're welcome Brad Pierce to Bucked Up, host of Beverages with Brad, and also one of my favorite comedians of the local area that we're in.
Thank you so much. It's not a lot of good comedians around here. Big compliment. I am not a great freestyle rapper. I'm sorry to disappoint you in your audience. Oh, that helps if I turn the mic on. When
There
the
we
hell are
go.
you going to tell me that? We've been talking to the girl in New York for 20 minutes.
I didn't want to interrupt you. You're on a roll, and I just wanted to make
on a
sure
roll.
you're
No.
on.
I wanted to like cuck you a little bit in the beginning, so no one listens to your show and they continue listening to mine. I
He
wanna-
does this to everybody, Brad. I'm sorry.
We're here with Brad Pierce. Brad, tell them about your show. And right once you're done, we'll turn your mic on.
Everybody love everybody!
No, but your Beverages with Brad was something that I took inspiration from because it was one of the very few shows that you put the video out,
Mm-hmm.
which I do, and also you don't just interview comedians, which
No.
I love interviewing comedians, but that's not all
comedians
I
suck.
want to do.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to anybody who will talk to me, which isn't a lot of people, but the ones that do, it's very enjoyable.
Well, you have a lot of like MMA people on because
Mhm.
that's what you do. That's your like fit. Is that your fitness?
It is,
Activity?
but boy, does that make me sound way more badass than I really am. Did you hear?
I heard
Right
a
on cue.
lightsaber.
Right on cue. You heard the Star Wars lightsaber.
Yeah, I heard the
text tone?
lightsaber.
That should show you that I am not like some badass MMA guy. That was like perfectly on cue. I forgot to turn
I
my
think your
ringer off.
coaffed hair and glasses show that you're not.
I look like his older brother. I am not getting it in the UFC anytime soon, but I do. Yes, I do martial arts. I enjoy that. I'm not good at them. I'm not tough. I'm old. I've had a lot of injuries. I like it though. So
I'm
not-
scared to
my
get
type.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm taking strange voice in the clouds.
that was God, actually.
Yeah, it was honestly weird already, but now that we can't see her, it's even weirder.
Actually, but I get scared. Like I want to do boxing. My grandfather was one of the top boxers in the Air Force. I want to get into it, but I'm scared of pain. Like I can't take that step of just like, all right, I guess this is what I'm gonna do now, even though I want to do it.
I think maybe you're overthinking it because you can do boxing without actually doing boxing. Like you can go and do boxing and get in shape and enjoy and learn things. You don't have to go get the shit kicked out of you. If you want to be good at it, you'll get the shit kicked
But
out of you.
I want to learn how to fight. Like
Yeah,
I
well,
do
then,
want to learn how
if
to
you
fight.
want to learn how to fight, then you got to go the whole way. But there's other options. I mean, I would recommend
Get a gun.
I would gun option one, but I'd recommend jujitsu because it's painful, but no one's punching you in the face. So if that helps.
Well, it is something I want to do, but it's kind of like that jump in stand up of you're going to be in pain. It's not
Yeah.
physical pain, but like when you start stand up, you know that you're going to be in a lot of them.
They're very similar. Martial arts and stand up are very similar.
But I feel like I was a pretty good baseball player, but I didn't like baseball because I didn't like sliding. Like literally, I was so scared of
So
getting
what happens
hurt.
if I say I don't know shit about like playing baseball? I never played it. I watch it, but so if you're a baseball player, what happens if you just refuse to slide? What, your coach kills you or something?
Yeah, you're gonna get cut from whatever team you're like. You have to
I
slide.
mean, I don't
in
see you
certain
like making the
situations.
Red Sox or anything anyways. So I think you could have probably just played your Pee-wee baseball and not slid, and you probably would have been just fine.
I just had a repressed memory come back of why I got cut from my freshman team in high school.
I told you to slide. You just blew the championship, you son of a bitch.
No, it's even sadder than that. Some kids on the team were like, "Oh, we're done with practice. Go take the bases back to the shed." So I took one of the bases back to the shed, and then the coach was like, "Who the fuck took the bases back to the shed? We're
Oh,
not done."
jeez.
And I wasn't gonna snitch on them, but I wasn't also gonna snitch on myself.
So
And
what
then
you
they
do?
snitched on me. And then I got cut from the team, and that might be the reason I stopped playing
Yeah.
baseball. It's not that I didn't want to slide.
Now, see, imagine if you had done the boxing because you could have punched the coach and those other kids right in the face and it would have felt great. You know what I mean? You should have just done the boxing before the baseball.
Well, we had a talk a couple weeks ago about you're not confrontational in real life, but you are on stage. Like you do a lot of crowd work, and you have some great videos on Facebook of like you like roasting the audience.
Yeah.
And that's why I love you, but I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, Sam. Thank you very much. Thank you. I needed this because my self-esteem is so low. My unemployment just ran out. My dreams are all dead. This is great. A young guy who smokes a lot of pot telling me he got his idea for his podcast from my shitty show and who loves me. It's like the other son I never had. This is so nice. And you're young enough to be my kid. So that's perfect.
How old are you?
Can we adopt you?
You can adopt
My
me.
wife and I sometimes talk about adoption, and I don't like want to deal with a baby and diapers. You're the perfect age. We'll sign
Adopt a
something.
23-year-old stoner.
Perfect.
I feel like
Perfect.
the second you talk to my mom, she'll be like, "Don't adopt him." Like
Oh, she loves you too much.
no, she loves me, but I think I'm a lot to handle.
Oh, okay. But I don't know. I feel like you'd be a good son. Like when my wife's asleep, like you'd want to watch cheesy movies with me and eat popcorn. Like we could have bonding time together. You know?
I guess that it's funny. I
We'll
have a
throw the
lot
ball
of
around in the
friends.
backyard.
I have a lot of friends who are my parents' age, but I don't want to hang out with my parents.
How old are your parents?
My mom's 49 and my dad's 54.
Yeah, I'm closer to their age than yours.
I'm
so-
23.
Yeah, I know. You're just a young buck
A young
on the
buck.
Bucked Up podcast. I keep wanting to look like at the audience. I don't know why I assume there's an audience out there. I
I'm
just know
looking
there's
back at you if that helps.
there's the
There's
producer.
an audience. Yeah, we have an audience of one.
I'm such a douche. What's it? Ani? Is it Ani?
Ani, yeah.
I've never met an Ani, so I had a hard time remembering it. Ani, I hope you're enjoying it. This
I
is a
don't-
beautiful shot of a skew, a great venue.
Yeah, shout out
to
to
Winsome.
Skew. He
We
just
also
made
have Irish here too. You got an audience of 2.
shout out Irish, my other producer.
Oh, I thought you were saying people in Ireland. were
Oh
listening.
no,
Yeah,
my
that's
other
fucking
producer
awesome.
Irish is on.
Hi,
too.
Irish.
I don't want to look at the camera because this light is hitting, and I just have the worst widow's
Why do
peak.
your producers have made up names? Whether they didn't want
Irish is a nickname.
Oh, wait, I would hope so. Look who names their kid Irish. Like, we're assuming you're going to grow up to be a drunk and eat potatoes. We're just going to call you Irish.
You're not far off.
But back to my original point. This is
Baseball. And this is the
yeah.
baseball show. Baseball and
Baseball
MMA
pod.
all day, every day.
No, but you're confrontational on stage, but not in real life.
Right.
And is that kind of a reason that you wanted to learn how to fight?
Oh, wow. That's deep. That's a deep question. That's definitely part of what got me into martial arts for sure. I'm not a particularly strong guy. I'm not very athletic.
When
And
did
you know,
get,
when you're in school as a kid and shit, if you're not a tough kid, the biggest fear you have is like getting beat up because that's so embarrassing. It's like, I don't want to get my ass kicked. And you know, I don't know what kids are doing now. I know it's like not cool to bully kids in school and stuff now. I don't think kids have to worry about shit ever since the school shootings. Like no one fucks with anybody. But I'm old. Like back in my day, it was cool to pick on people that you could beat up. And so for me, I was always like, man, fuck, I don't want to get in a fight. I don't know how to fight. So in high school,
did you ever get beat up?
in junior high, I did. Yeah, it was humiliating. And it didn't even hurt physically. It just hurt like emotion. It was fucking embarrassing. I got my
Yeah.
ass kicked at like the bus stop in front of like a ton of kids, and it fucking sucked. So
For any reason other than just
no, he just used to pick on me and
Yeah.
decided one day he was going to beat the shit out of me. So I mean, his life went to complete hell. So there is some redeeming quality.
yeah, and you're on the
that-
Bucked Up podcast.
And look at me,
so-
killing it.
You're
Fucking killing it. Take that, bullies. Yeah, so in high school, you know, I always liked action movies and shit.
Mhm.
But I think I'm trying to think of where it started. I think it started where I read a Bruce Lee book and became obsessed with Bruce Lee. And then you know, I kept hearing about this guy, Hoist Gracie, who
Mhm.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so we went up to the video store. That was a place you would go to rent films back in the day.
I used to get VHSs. I remember
it was
VHSs.
all right. So you
Okay.
remember we went and we got some of the first UFCs.
Mhm.
And back then there was no rules except no biting and eye gouging, no weight class, no rounds. And this skinny guy who's built just like me, he's like almost my height, same build, destroyed everybody. And I'm like, how the hell is this guy doing it? And they're like, oh, that's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, wow, I want to learn that shit. So I saw a sign. They had a sign in a Taylor Reynolds Center because nobody knew about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu back then. And this dude was teaching it. They would literally move like lawnmowers out of the back of the Taylor Reynolds Center. And it was like me and dudes like twice my age. And I was one of his first students. I was one of the first students of the original Rhode Island Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, which is now run by a guy named Tim Burrell.
How old were you?
I was only like 18.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing it a
actually
while.
17. So I was 17. Yeah, but see, again, this is going to make me sound like some kind of expert. I did it for a year, completely fucked up this thumb.
Jesus
ended up quitting.
Christ. I did not like that at all.
Yeah, I quit. And then like, it's one of those things I've kind of sporadically done. So like really, it's not, if I had stuck with it since then, I'd be unbelievable. I really didn't. I quit that maybe 5-6 years later. I took another class, broke my foot, quit again. Really, I got more serious about it about 3 years ago. Hensel Gracie, Rhode Island opened. I went there for about 2.5 years or so, quit, and I switched over to a place called Triforce MMA. And now I've just been kind of training with that at different places. But so it's not like I did it since I was 17. I was kind of here and there.
But do you feel so? I went to a private school because my mom was a teacher, so I was able to go. And so there wasn't like, I never got beat up, and I'm also big. Like I was always big. So I more felt small, and I was worried about being beat up, but it never happened. And I feel like have you ever been threatened after a show?
I've definitely had a lot of people angry at me at shows.
I got threatened by 2 cops once, and not that I'd beat up the cops, but just like that. I don't know why, but it's like,
That's
I feel
really
like,
shitty. You know, this is why people are having protests and stuff like that, is because of how police are treating my friend Sam. It's really an issue in this country. I think it needs to be discussed publicly. I'm just glad that you could finally speak about this.
No, but I feel like when you know how to fight, there is like, it's like a coat of like confidence kind of.
It definitely helps. It definitely helps, but also the most badass dudes I know would never really get in a fight.
Well,
it's
just knowing exactly, because when you know you don't want to get in a fight.
Yeah, it's very hot. Fighting, guys are real dumb and macho, so guys always think, "Oh, I know how to fight." And that's absolutely ridiculous. It's like I tell my brother-in-law, like, because he's unbelievable at soccer. I was like, dude, that's like me saying, "Oh, I'm a confident guy. I can play soccer." Yeah,
I was like, soccer, is that a type of fighting? Like,
no.
Is that a jiu-jitsu?
It's a Filipino style. Yeah, it's called soccer.
SAKA.
Yeah, no. And I was like, dude, it'd be like me saying, "Oh, I can play soccer." Like, no, I don't know shit about, like, fighting is like chess. It's very complicated. I really expect to be talking about combat this whole show. I hope I'm not boring everybody.
No, I love this.
Yeah,
this is the point of this. Don't get in your head. But it's
I'm like, I'm supposed to be funny and shit, and I'm like, here's how you do an arm. This is how you break a guy's arm. Like,
no, but I actually am really interested in this stuff.
Well, glad I could help.
But it's kind of like, okay,
just call me Sensei.
I'll make a okay, Sensei. I'll make a joke, but this is true. It's like, have you ever been out with a girl and they think because you're a guy, you'll like stand up for them talking shit? Like I would have girls that are friends of mine just talk shit, and they're like,
I hate that girls do that shit. And I know I'm going to sound all sexist, and you're like 20 and probably a bunch of like very progressive fans of the show.
I have a minor
you shouldn't do that shit. As a woman,
I hate
do that shit.
that chicks do that. They will talk so much shit. There could be a roided up 250-pound dude, and she'll be like, and she expects you to fucking deal with it. It's like, if no one is going, if you're not going to fight these motherfuckers, you need to shut the fuck up. Women are so bad about that. You're right.
It is true. They're like,
it's really annoying.
And I'm not a fight. Like I might look a certain way, but
you look very intimidating. I don't know if you could see at home, but he looks fierce this guy.
But the second I talk, it's like I don't want to fight anyone. Like I hate that, because it's I might be 6'4", but I'm like, I see myself as 5'7".
Sam is a lover, not a fighter. I will tell you a cool story about, and this is why you should put your kids in martial arts. A cool thing happened when I was doing my first jiu-jitsu class. There was a jock guy who was on the football team, the wrestling team, and wrestling is a great form of martial art. Really, it really is. It's so much better than like karate, kung fu, and all that
Mm.
shit. And he would just kind of, he wasn't like gonna beat me up or anything, but he was just kind of fucking around with me after lunch, and everyone's coming out of the lunchroom, and he punched me very hard in the arm. So I kicked him, and then he tackled me, and I actually choked him out. Like, I didn't choke him unconscious, but I choked him until he tapped. And it was a good feeling because I was always such a weenie. And I was like, I just made this wrestling football player tap in front of like everybody outside the lunchroom. And it was a great feeling.
That probably gave, because if that didn't happen, you might still be looking for that like time, like, because if you got beat up, I don't know, but I feel like you want to right the wrong.
Yeah.
Somehow,
And even though it wasn't the same guy and it wasn't a legitimate fight, it still just felt good to feel like, okay, I have at least a chance.
Yeah.
And again, it's not because I'm something special. It's just because jiu-jitsu is like magic. It's like a magic trick, because like a weenie like me could do that to a guy like him because the techniques are so unbelievable. It's not like I am still a weenie. It's just, it's like magic. It's
but
like
you
knowing a magic
see
trick.
yourself as that, but I don't think other people see you as that. Like I see you, I thought you were confrontational off, like when we had that talk, like I see you as a confident guy. Like it's funny how you see.
It's not like an athlete. I'm not an athlete is what I'm trying to say.
you,
I'm not
you're
big,
tall,
strong,
but you are
athletic
tall
guy.
and you're thin and you're like, you have some build. It's not, but it's,
Oh, you understand. I was in high school. I was the same height as I am now, but I weighed like maybe 160. I was like a rail. You know what I mean?
But see, I was 270. I was the same.
You were on the opposite. Yeah,
so-
of course no one's fucking with you. You're 300 pounds back then.
But
Who's
I see myself as like a little, like I saw myself as little. Like, I don't know. I felt
How
very.
tall are you? Like 6'2"?
6'3".
Yeah, 6'3", 300 pounds. Who's going to fuck with that guy?
But but I don't see, it's the thing that I was saying, like, I didn't see myself as that. You see
Basically,
yourself.
if you want to know how to keep your kids from getting picked on, just have them be tall and just keep eating.
just
Because if you hit 300
overfeed
pounds,
them, they might have an eating disorder in high school, but it'll be worth it.
So, yeah, I don't like confrontation. I don't.
Were you funny, like growing up? Were you like good at roasting and stuff?
No. Mm-mm.
When did that come into play? Like, when did you get into that?
I don't think I was ever funny. I just didn't want to work or anything. I was just always trying to figure out a way.
That's another reason you were one of the only people that like I'd see at Mike's, but you were also you could pay for your life.
I could pay for
doing
my
your work.
Narragansett beer at the bar for $2.
I was supposed to be a
well-paid guy.
spokesperson for Narragansett before Corona, and then Corona happened, and I lost that job.
Son of a bitch. Well, I got fucked by Sam Adams. You ever hear that story?
No, I
I could
didn't.
tell you that story.
Yeah,
It's
let's
very
hear it.
traumatic.
You got fucked by Sam Adams.
Big time. What I was saying, before we get to Sam Adams, I want to finish my thought. We were talking about Oh, no, I wasn't funny or anything. What happened was it was getting close to the end of high school, and it's like that fear. Like I knew a bunch of my friends were going to the military, a bunch were going to college. I had no fucking ideas. And I had a friend named Steve who I thought was hilarious. And I asked him if he wanted to do a public access show. And we started the show, and it was terrible.
Did you do videography and stuff before that?
Later, much later. So I didn't know what I was doing.
Mhm.
It was a shitty camera. I used to edit with a VCR. I just thought he was funny. I knew I wanted to do something different and creative. And I was a big fan of Tom Green at that point. So that's where I started to do man on the street footage. I'd go out and interview people, and I had this shitty so we took a lapel mic, a column mic, and we put it in the body of this plastic gold microphone, which is where the golden mic name comes from, which I use for my business now. I've had that since then, since I was a kid. I've had that
really?
same
And you have
name.
it tatted on you.
Yeah, I have this. I'm very sensitive about this tattoo. Let's show that, because a lot of times people can't tell what it is, and I'm very insecure about it. But it's actually, yes, a laughing golden microphone. Do you think it looks like a mic? You can be honest.
No, it does look like a mic, but
Okay, thanks.
it's a very cartoon face. So
Yeah,
you
it's
shouldn't get mad. It's like
I was not mad. I'm just insecure because I hate when people are like, "What is that? A fish?" And I'm like, "Oh God."
I guess I could see like fish eyes, but
Yeah,
it's a
that's
mic.
the eyes. Yeah. So, anyways, I've had that name forever and did the show forever, and then it was much later that I went to school for film. That was much later. I was already married,
Mhm.
and I still didn't know it. I don't know why she married me. I had no idea the fuck I was doing. I didn't make any money. I had no prospects. And for some reason, she married me. And when we were married, that's when she was like, hey, maybe you should go back to school. Then I went for film. And basically, since a million years ago, I always wanted to do stand-up. Always wanted to do stand-up.
Did you
And
did you listen to it growing up? Or?
not a lot. A little bit.
Mm-hmm,
You
but
know,
not much.
a little bit. I always liked the show Seinfeld because I'm from that era. So I watched him. And I remember as a kid, my friend had, my neighbor had George Carlin tapes. So we would listen to the cassettes. But I wasn't one of these comedians like, oh, I always dreamed about doing comedy. It kind of came later when I was doing the public access show. I was like, man, I really should, if I want to be funny, like I need to do stand-up. But I was terrified of it. I was really scared to do it. So I was like, I'll do it at some point. I'll do it at some point. And then I did a couple open mics like a million years ago at Catch a Rising Star at Twin River. And I think I maybe did 3 or 4 of them. And I was going to go the next week and I never went. And I just kept letting the stage fright keep me from doing it, which was annoying because I already wasn't really doing anything else. So I feel like I wasted a lot of years. And then a friend of mine started doing comedy in Georgia. And he's like, hey, man, you really need to be doing stand-up. And he ended up talking me into it. He ended up calling the Comedy Connection from Georgia and booking me on a Sunday. And that's where it began. And then that was, I don't know, 6.5 years ago or something. And then since then once I got going, I was like all in with it.
That happened to me too, but in a very shortened amount of time. I'm not going to tell this story fully because I've said it so many times on this podcast, but I flew out to LA and did Kill Tony when I was 17 and used a fake ID to get into the Comedy Store. And that was the first time I ever did stand up. And then,
that's a much cooler story than a public access show.
But I flew out again the next year and got on Kill Tony again, and that was the second time. And then
Where
I
did you get the money to fly out there?
I saved up all my. I was a I saved up my money.
You just sat near him collecting your allowance.
I worked a lot. Like I used to work hard, and I used to work 7 days a week, like 70 hours.
What great work ethic. I've always been lazy. Where were you working?
I was working at a burrito place, but I worked my
That
way
explains
up.
the 300 pounds.
Yeah, I
the free
worked my
burritos
way
will do
up
that to you.
in the time I worked from like line crew. And then by the end of it, I was the marketing manager and it was a chain. So by the end, I was making a good amount of money.
See, kids, dreams can come true. If you're at home wondering what you should do, I suggest become a burrito cook because you can work your way up and eventually have your own podcast. So that's an
Exactly.
inspirational story.
But
It's like Rocky.
I didn't do college at all through college. I didn't do stand up through college. And then finally, when I did it after I graduated, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
When did you start doing it like regularly?
The week after I graduated college.
How many years ago?
2 years.
Okay, cool.
2 years. And I've
Nice.
been doing it, as much as I can. But back to, it's the thing where it's like, once you do it and you get into it, because you didn't care about, is that why you were doing crowd work and stuff? Because
All right, so
most comics are nervous about doing crowd work.
See, yeah, I'm a very weird guy in case it isn't noticeable to anybody. I'm a very strange guy. I had stage fright, and what freaked me out at the beginning when I was starting, it wasn't even bombing necessarily. What would freak me out was forgetting what I was talking about, like fucking Jimmy Rabbit and 8 Mile. Like I would be doing a joke, what's my next line? And my first bunch of sets were very robotic. And then as I started to talk a little bit to the crowd, I realized, oh man, I feel way more comfortable doing that. And like my wife was like, you like that was way better when you were talking to that person in the crowd than when you were doing your jokes. And I realized, I think it's just because, like a lot of comedians are introverts. I'm an extrovert. I like talking to people. So when I started to do that, when I was my first year of comedy, it took me away from the fact, like I no longer felt like I was on stage. I just felt like, oh, I'm just fucking around with this person. And we're having a conversation. I'm not thinking about the lights are on me. Everyone wants me to be funny. Blah, 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 blah. What's my next joke? I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm just fucking around with this guy in the front row and I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And then I get back to my jokes and I'm like, fuck, all right, what's my next line? And then I like, oh, maybe I talked to this lady. Now I feel comfortable again. So I realized, holy shit, I feel way more comfortable. And then, so that was kind of like how
How
started to
long, how
go
long
into
into
that.
comedy were you?
That
you
was
realized that?
probably the first year maybe, but I was still in this weird balance and everything. And then I realized, I think what helped me and helps me to this day, not that I'm like fucking doing great, obviously, I'm still broke with no money and trying to figure out how to get my karaoke career going again.
But you are
I'm doing better
self-made
now.
and
I'm
you're
doing
married.
better than I was. So the reason the style I have now really comes from, I think, years of frustrations about feeling like a loser.
Mhm.
And that, I think what changed a lot, because these comedians, oh, you find your voice. The whole thing with Gotham, where I had to follow Jerry Seinfeld, that was the night I think I figured out, okay, this is my style of comedy. Because I think, and this goes back to your original point about me being confrontational, I think on stage, I think I'm letting out a lot of frustrations I've had over the years with myself and just feeling like a failure. And I think that's where, if you see me being aggressive on stage, I think it's like therapy for me. I'm letting out. That's why, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like there was a set I had to do after Seinfeld at Gotham in New York. And I had no, like, people like, oh man, you were up there and you called Jim Gaffigan and Jerry Seinfeld assholes. Cause it was like legitimate frustrations. Like, I've been watching these guys be successful since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I still can't figure out the fuck what I'm doing with my life. And I just let it all out that night. And I think the crowd reacted so well to it because it was real, genuine emotion. Since that set, I'm always trying to chase that. I feel like when I bomb, it's because I'm not as emotionally connected to what I'm saying as I was that night. That night, I was just expressing myself. And again, I think the frustration I have makes people laugh, I think.
Because you're funny off the cuff. Like, you're funny with the crowd conversationally and also just like in the moment. It wasn't like that was a prepared set. You were just going and talking as if it's like not crowd work, but
that night was basically just, like riffing. It was just
you've been able to make like on YouTube, your stand-up is really well known. Like, it's kind of cool that you're from this area. You live in the Rhode Island area, and you've been able to make a name for yourself online with stand-up.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the compliments. This guy's really good for my self-esteem. I got to hang out with you.
This is a self-help podcast.
This really is. I should just lay down on here.
Exactly. I wanted to set up the couch for this reason.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me about the fight with your mom today?
Oh, God. Yeah, I guess.
And then we got to tell the Sam Adams story. See, I might be a stoner, but I remember.
You're a good
this
host.
stuff.
You really are. You're a good host. You do a good job of making me feel important. Where, as far as I know, the only people listening are Ani and Irish, two made-up individuals in space. Yeah. So my wife, before I came, was like, "Oh, we haven't talked to your parents tonight. You should call your parents and check in." And I was like, that sounds like a bad idea.
Are you not close with them?
Yeah, I'm close with them. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know.
I
love my parents. They love me.
Yeah. That makes that's yes, that's I would say that's medium.
I feel like I
people
just
who
snorted on your microphone. Like I didn't.
That's the most Boston answer to answer about your parents. By
it's
the way,
true though. It's you love them, but yeah, I understand. I totally get that. So you didn't want to catch up.
You know how I haven't known you that long.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a pretty negative guy. Okay, I'm a negative guy.
Yeah.
I am the most optimistic person on earth compared to my parents. Like, I am the most carefree, optimistic, happy go guy in the planet. So when my wife was like, "Hey, call him," I was like, "She's right. I should be a good son."
Mm-hmm.
But I was right. It sucked. On the way here, I called him.
It hurt. It's soul sucking. I understand.
For example, yesterday, I found out my unemployment ran out.
Mm-hmm.
An hour later, I get a text from my mom. I'm gonna see if I saved it. I might have deleted it.
It's good. It feels good to delete a text that's really upsetting you, so you don't just read it over and over and over.
I got it.
Oh, you're gonna.
I found out around noon.
Yeah, that you ran.
That my unemployment's out, and then an hour later, at 1:30, well, hour and a half. What did you hear about the new strains of COVID? So I'm excited because some of my gigs are coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, all right, my unemployment ran out. I was hoping it would last a couple more weeks because
Uh-huh.
some of my gigs are coming back. I have a bunch of shows this month. 2 of my weekly karaoke gigs come back this month. I was like, all right, so it sucks it ran out, but let me try to be optimistic. Things are opening. And my mom is already like, hey, do you know the COVID's not done with us yet? So I called her today and right off the bat, boom, like, hey, I don't know if you know, but these new strains, and this is a quote, she said, more deadly and more contagious. Like, in other words, hey, don't have any hope you're ever getting back to work.
Are they news watchers? Do they like watch?
She loves the news,
Okay,
loves
yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
like, what? Everything's bad. This is fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Let me call my son and ruin his day and tell him how we're all going to die. She's like, yeah, she just is like, yeah, it's more contagious. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I was hoping to go back to work. I guess I'll just hang myself.
Yeah.
And literally though, from West Warwick to here, the whole ride just was COVID's coming for us. It's worse. We're never going to live again. We're never going to see. Because I was like, Mom, did you get vaccinated? She's like, yeah. I was like, Dad got vaccinated, right? Yup. I said, all right. Well, Carmen, that's my wife, she's vaccinated. I just had COVID.
Yeah.
So I figured we'd be able to see you. We haven't seen you in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're saying no, because now more strains are coming. And she's like, well, I just want to make sure we don't do anything too fast. I said, Mom, you know we're going to die, right? Like, you know, we're not going to live forever.
Yeah.
Because are we just going to am I never seeing my parents again? We're just going to just sit in your house and wait until you die of old age before the COVID monster gets you. And then I'm just never going to see you again. Like, I get being sick. I haven't given them much shit. I get it. They're old.
Yeah.
I get it. But if they're both vaccinated, I have the antibodies, and my wife's, we can't have a cup of coffee still? No, because CNN told her we're all going to die. So,
But especially old people, I feel like they get in loops. Like, as even my age or even your age, you probably get in loops and you're like, how the fuck did I get in that loop when you're out of it? But you just do. And they probably are like, well, this is life and it's been life for a year. So I guess this is just
this is it from now on.
And then the news scares them.
Well, they don't do anything but watch the news.
Exactly. Because
So-
there's nothing they can do except watch the news, which scares them, which
Right.
gets them to watch more, which gets their
Right.
ad revenue up. Which
Right.
fucking-
That's what I said. I said, what do you think the news is going to say, Ma? Hey, everything's great. Go outside. Like, that
Yeah.
doesn't sell.
Yeah, no. And it is.
So
Are
that's why
you-
I walked in here frustrated.
Do you have
'cause I
any
was like,
siblings?
I have 2 older brothers.
Are they did they have the same frustrations with them?
Yes. And it goes back to my grandmother who lived to 101, which is funny because people always say if they ask an old lady, how did you live so long? Like, oh, I just kept a positive attitude. This was the most negative woman you ever met in your life. She was actually funny though. She had like that very negative New England sense of humor, which was very funny, but she was super negative. So I think that's where they get it. I think my dad's dad was very negative.
So your grandma, the funny one,
Yeah.
did you find it funny when you were a kid how negative she was?
Not as a kid, but as I got older, yeah. She only died a few years
Because
ago.
that's what.
When I got
'cause-
older, she would drive me nuts how negative she was, but I would laugh my ass off too because she was really fucking funny.
Because you say that you earlier was like, you might see that I'm negative in your
Right.
public persona, but it's funny negative. I didn't know if like
That probably
that's
some
funny
of that
that
probably
that's
comes
your
from her.
like your first sense of humor. You didn't watch stand up, but you got
Not
that
a
was her
lot.
first sense of humor you saw was
Yeah, I
like,
think it's just a New England thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad. It's because it's fucking cold. Dude, I just went to Florida with my
Mhm.
wife 2 weeks ago. We were in West Palm, which is fucking beautiful. I highly recommend it to your Irish people watching or whatever. Fucking beautiful, dude. 80 degrees every day. And I'm like, I could never live down here because I wouldn't be able to be funny. I was too happy. I was so happy. Every day we drove around, we rented a convertible, and we'd sit on the beach. And I was like, I'm too happy. This is great. I think it's just we're fucking cold in New England, so we're pissed off. And then my family's negative. So I think that's a lot with the humor. And again, my feelings of a failure my whole life too plays a factor because my 2 older brothers are very successful.
mhm.
Especially my oldest brother. Like, I was horrible in school and he was like straight A student.
Did you guys go to the same school?
Yeah, they're older, but yes. Yeah, we all went to the same school.
Were they
And-
like, why aren't you smart like your brother? Was it?
I
shit like that?
literally had teachers give me shit like, how are you related Yeah, that's a 100%.
Well, that makes sense why you want to follow the dreams and the arts, kind of.
yeah, I'm the black sheep in the
My
family.
mom was a teacher, and I wasn't. It sounds dumb to say I'm smart, but like I love learning
You look
about
smart.
things.
I think it's just the glasses.
But
See,
yeah,
if I
you
think
look.
I don't, the glasses don't fit my.
Should we do the
personality.
podcast without glasses?
look how
look how dumb this podcast just got. This podcast just turned from a fucking intellectual TED talk to Cum Town real quick.
We should have took the glasses off for the MMA portion.
We
Because now we
should've.
look rough and rugged.
But now I
you
can't
know.
see shit.
I can't either.
All
You
right,
know,
glasses
here's the
back
thing. When
on.
I was your age, I didn't have glasses. I got glasses later in life.
And you have a good hairline. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I'm killing it with my hair, right?
How
I
do
try
you?
to look
This
young.
is gonna sound This is gonna sound sad, but you do have like your wife comes to your shows. It's awesome to watch her like see you laugh, and it sounds like she supports your like dreams.
She does. She always has. And I do love that she still laughs. But man, it adds an element of pressure when she's at a show. For sure it does.
Is that good though? To like, it's cool that you found someone that supports you and also isn't trying to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, look, if she didn't think something of the weird things I do, she obviously wouldn't have married me. I didn't have
Yeah.
anything else going for me.
You're not
She's-
you don't speak highly of yourself.
I don't think I've earned that.
Yeah, I think you've earned that.
Thank you once again. This is this guy's my dream, right? He's keeping me alive. No, she's always been supportive, and I love that she laughs. I love that she supported all the stuff I've done for comedy and making crazy videos and all that. She's always been super supportive, but she's also, again, like a true New Englander, she's no bullshit. Like if I fucking suck in a set, she's going to tell me about it, which is why I said it's an extra level of pressure when she's there, because she's not going to just blow smoke up my ass. She might say, hey, you did well, but hey, did you forget? Like, what were you saying? You looked uncomfortable at this part. And then I'm like, fuck, I know. So
Is she like that in real life too?
Yeah, she's super
Like
intense.
are you like that, or are you non-confrontational
She's
in real life?
very intense. And yeah, no, I'm not confrontational. I like to get along with people. I don't like confrontation.
But see, I'll say really honest stuff on stage, but like I'll be scared to say that to a significant other or a friend. Or
I
it's
say
like,
shit on stage that I would never say off stage. I feel more comfortable sometimes with a microphone.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
That's why I
like
like
there's a wall.
podcasting.
There's a wall between you and reality, and it's this very fuzzy. I like this mic cover. It's very fuzzy. I like the mixing board too. It reminds me of Simon, the old '80s game. I don't know if they can see it.
But I agree. That's the thing I like about this podcast is I get nervous to talk to people. Like I've wanted to talk to you since like the time I saw you on stage for the first time, and I really liked your stand-up, but I would get nervous until I'm like, oh, I have a platform. Let me talk to you on my platform.
Sam,
But
you
it's
can talk
weird.
to me anytime. I'm a very approachable guy. I like to talk to people. I have no problem.
But it's
with
an internal thing. I have a voice in my head that says like, you suck, you're not enough, like you're a pussy.
that. And you
like-
said I'm hard on myself.
It's true though. Like I run. And when I'm not running or like on the run, I'll be like, sorry for this offensive word. And but I'll honestly in my head, I'll be like, you fucking faggot. Like you gotta keep going. Like you're a pussy. Like push yourself. But when I have a platform, I feel like, oh, I can relax a little bit.
It's like the whole Clark Kent Superman thing where you take on a more confident persona. Is that what you're saying?
Kinda.
Because I'm a huge nerd. I just watched something about this, like a Marvel thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was cool about it wasn't so much the Marvel. You'll appreciate this as a hip hop head. Was Daryl Mack, aka DMC.
yeah.
He's a very shy, nerdy guy. And he said when he created DMC and that stage persona and that rapper, he became someone else. Because in real life, he's very introverted, very nerdy and quiet. So when he would hit the stage as DMC, he took on like a different persona. And
Well,
that's what we're talking about.
I
think that's
love
cool.
rap more than anything. Like comedy and rap are my two passions.
I love that. I love to hear that. I feel like you're young, so I don't know if we listen to any of the same shit, but I love rap music as well.
I saw Wu-Tang Clan when I was 12.
There
Like
you
I
go.
like older stuff. but
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I love,
everybody.
but when I talk to rappers on this podcast,
Mhm.
it's cool to be like, it's awesome to talk to them and not just be through the music. Like if you just saw your stand-up where you're yelling at people on stage, you
think I'm an asshole.
You think you're a different person than you are. Not even an asshole, but you think rappers or comedians are different people.
Right.
You think they're their on-stage persona, but I'm not who I am on stage. That's me turned up to 10.
Yeah, that's a part. It's a part of you.
It's parts that I want to make fun of, like the
Right.
parts that I don't like about myself. I can kind of like turn up, or parts that I'm nervous about, or things like that. And that's what rap is too. It's an outlet where you can create someone who's you but turned up to 10.
Yeah, like a superhero. I need to clear like my shit. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm gonna go clear my shit. I don't have COVID. COVID free. That was like a month and a half ago. I'm good, but I gotta
You can
clear
go
my
blow your
shit.
nose.
I'm not doing that on here. That's fucking weird.
Ask me a question.
With the
I'll-
Irish guy and all that. I'm gonna ask you a question while you're answering. I'm gonna go right there and I'm gonna come right back.
Okay, perfect.
Here's my question. Tell me your top 3 favorite rappers.
Top 3 favorite rappers. Okay. Well, one, West. Top 1 is West Side Gun, who I'm going up to Buffalo with former guest Shamil. You'll see we're going to film a little something promo. I'm going up for his gallery opening. I have his shirt on right now. He's newer, but he's like old school style, but new. I will send you shit that I know you'll love. Kanye West, because I grew up to him. When I was 8 years old, I knew all the words to Late Registration because that's what my dad played me. I grew up through Kanye. I love Kanye. And 3, my favorite rapper would be Lil Wayne because he's very influential to me. I grew up listening to him because it was my mom's favorite rapper. Okay. So Lil Wayne.
You look
Kanye
like a
West,
guy whose mom listens to Lil Wayne. That's no surprise at all there.
You can tell he doesn't remember any of my jokes because that's the only joke I have
That's really
said.
funny.
But no, okay. So you're a comic book guy. You have a lot of tattoos.
I like comic book stuff.
You have a lot of tattoos.
I do have a lot of tattoos.
Do you like? So I wear a lot of rap hoodies. So I don't want you to get upset when I ask. Do you think tattoos, you like the art of it, or do you think because you see yourself as that dweeb, it makes you look like you think you're like tougher with tattoos?
I mean, it's not like I have like one of those like Bob Wyatt tattoos around my bicep.
No, you got a fish microphone
I have a
on your
fish
arm.
on my mic that I have to have my balls busted about. No, the tattoo thing. So
because I don't have any, and I'm scared. Like it's just something I don't understand. So I want. You know.
So like I think the tattoo thing with me was a lot of my friends growing up and shit were musicians, and a lot of my friends are really into punk and shit. So a lot of my friends had a lot of tattoos, and honestly, I always thought they looked like shit. And then a buddy of mine, Dan, had a big tattoo across his back that I was like, oh, that actually looks cool. Usually I feel like my tattoos I see don't look good.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously a long time ago. And then I was like, at some point I was like, maybe I'll get one similar style to his. I like that one. That looked cool. And my wife liked the idea. She said, yeah, well, fuck it, go for it. So I got one on my back, and then
what was your one on your back?
It's like a Bible verse.
Is it big?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Are you religious?
It really I mean, the word religious is like a super loaded word.
I hate this word spiritual is very loaded, but I'm very spiritual.
I have beliefs, and they've really fluctuated through my life. I grew up in like a church-going family. My brother's a pastor. I could spend fucking 5 hours talking about that subject. The simple answer is,
I am interested about it.
Yeah,
because
sure. Like, yeah, kinda. Like, I would say at this point in my life, I am in this weird zone of like a mix between a Christian and a nihilist. Like, I feel like I'm somewhere floating around that. I don't know. You know, the older I get, the more I realize how much I just don't fucking know. But there are things I hope for. So I'll say that. So I got the tattoo. It's a religious tattoo.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'll just do one tattoo. That'll be the end of that. And then it's like, I can't even see the fucking thing. It's on my back. I'm going to get one more.
What was the
on
next?
my arm. On my arm, another religious tattoo. That's it. Number 2, I'm done. And then I don't know. Then I was like, I'll do another one. And then I just kept going. And then I had all these kind of serious, like spiritual tattoos. Like, I want to do a fun tattoo.
Mhm.
So I did the big golden mic one. And I'm like, well, I got all this black and white, black and gray shit over here. I got a colorful one here. Maybe I'll do more color shit. And I was like, what do I like? I like New England sports. I like New England. And I started this huge piece, which is going to be all the New England sports teams. It's taken forever because they're huge and they're expensive.
It is. I've seen it's big.
Yeah, it's very big. So I started that and I'm like, oh, I really like it. And what helps is my wife likes it. She's like, oh, I like your tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
keep doing it. So it just kind of became a fun
Do you like
thing.
all of them?
Yes and no. I mean, I'd say there's probably something about each one I don't like and something about each one I do like.
Mhm.
I think the golden mic one, there are things I would definitely change. But the detail is obviously, it's great artwork. I just would change some things.
Mhm.
And that's all of them. All of them, there's things I like and things I don't. But I don't think, to answer your original question, I would hope that my thought wasn't, hey, I'm going to get tattoos so I look like a badass. I hope that's not what I was
No,
thinking.
but
I don't
okay.
think I was thinking that.
But I don't. I'm happy that you explained the story because I don't think so either. But I don't know. Like I think people look at me wearing rap hoodies, like or T-shirts. This one right now, and they're like, "Oh, he thinks a certain thing about it." People will have a certain like connotation to why I'm wearing that.
Oh, fuck
clothing.
people. You like what you like.
Right?
I like
but-
the tattoos. It's fun. It's
exactly.
a cool thing.
Yeah, and
I
also,
like it.
yeah, and
I got a problem with it. Fuck it. You wear hip hop shit because you like hip hop.
I like
What's
it. I
the big
grew up
deal?
with it. I love that shit.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
exactly. But
And you don't carry yourself as someone who's not genuine. It's
Mhm.
not like you walk in, you're like, Sam Buck's in the house, motherfucker. What up?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you act like yourself. Your personality and the way you look fit perfectly.
I feel the same way with you and your tattoos and like all
Awesome.
that shit.
Look how much we love each other. And they said
It's my
people-
bigger older brother, my
That's it.
smaller older brother. No, but I do want to go back to the spiritual
Sure.
religious thing because
Ask me whatever. I'm an open book.
because
my friend.
so I went to church, a like a non-religious kind of church.
Okay.
It's religious, but it wasn't like Catholic. It was easy going, but it was because my dad was cheating. He brought us to church, I think, to like,
because of the guilt or something?
yeah, I think because of the guilt. And that's kind of the connotations I tied to it, I think. And so as I got older, I realized that I did believe in a higher power and that especially meditating and journaling is kind of a form of prayer, I feel like. And I love meditating and I feel like that is a form of prayer or journaling. And then when, I don't mean to get all like Joe Rogan-y, but when I did DMT, my higher power
That is very Joe
I
Rogan-y.
saw is exactly. I know. I don't do MMA, so I'm not Joe Rogan that much. I saw Buddha. Honestly, I'm not. That is the person that I saw, and then when I learned more about it, I realized that kind of a lot of my beliefs are based in Buddhist beliefs without even knowing it, and it was a weird thing where I was like, oh, there kind of is like I liked the truth to it, that it was, I came to it without even knowing. And I wonder, like, you're older, you have the tattoos, you feel it, like, what made you connect with it still to an old, like, even though you're around comedians and you're around people who probably are like, fuck you, like why
what
you
made me
stick
connect
to
to like my religious beliefs?
Yes, yeah.
Well, like I said, it's been like a crazy journey because, and again, I don't want to like, the story's too long to tell. So I'll try to like cut to now versus like going through the whole backstory. But there was a lot of different experiences with different churches and, seeing different things, like some churches that were like really like super Bible beating, wicked, like hardcore, self-righteous, judgmental.
Your parents are very religious?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad more so than my mom.
But they brought you to these churches.
Yeah, but then they, everybody has their own journey. Like
Mhm.
my dad, their beliefs are way different now than when I was a kid, and my beliefs are way different now than when I was a kid.
But you've stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't go to church every week. I haven't been to church in a while. If my brother's church was here, I'd go every week because it's fucking cool, man. He's cool. He's the coolest pastor you ever met. He actually came out to PJ's with me and Alan and Al and got the biggest kick out of it. And it was funny because like halfway through, they're like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a pastor. And in true Al Christakis fashion, he goes, really? You don't look like a pedophile. Now, see, a normal pastor would be offended. He's like, what a fucking douche. But
Yeah.
he's a cool dude, and the people there at his church are super like real and just cool and not like dickheads like church people usually are.
If you use
but I
it
don't
right.
go a lot. But all right, to answer your question, why do I still have an attachment to it? Well, there are things about atheism that I think are very compelling, and there are things about theism that I believe are very compelling. The aspects of theism that I find compelling are hopeful, and the aspects about atheism that are compelling scare the shit out of me. Now, obviously, because you want one to be true doesn't make it true, but I'm hopeful that it's true. And then specifically Christianity, which again is such a huge term and often means self-righteous douchebags that drive pickup trucks. For me, the message that of Christianity, that God would come in human form and die for our sins, it's a beautiful message of like, because I know I'm fucked up. I know humans are fucked up. God loves me and he's willing to forgive me even though I'm a piece of shit. That's nice. That's a nice message. I like that message. I like that gospel message. I find it very hopeful. So the short version of a huge topic is I find hopefulness in that. There's Christian or theistic arguments that I find compelling. So I'm hopeful. I don't fucking know. Maybe we are all a cosmic accident, and we're all gonna die, and it all meant nothing. I don't know. I hope not.
Don't let me be the breaking of your religion.
Yeah, no, man. Trust me. I know.
The Fucked Up Podcast broke a man of his religion.
I have listened to hours and hours and hours of debates between atheists and theists. And I think there's a lot of good arguments on both sides.
But that's a beautiful thing that you see the hope in it, especially from an hour of you saying that you're a negative guy and that
I am a negative guy.
But
That's
you see
the
hope,
nihilistic.
But you see hope in it.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
the
a nice...
nihilistic spot. Yeah, I am a negative guy, but if I was all in on that, I would just blow my brains out. There is something keeping me going.
That's a real passion. That's what I call before comedy, I didn't think, I found it young because I feel like if I didn't find it young, I wouldn't have anything to live for. And that the universe had
that's
to.
some intense shit. You better be on Comedy Central pretty soon.
That's an old reference. I'm being real.
No, I know
honest.
you are.
Like,
comedy is very therapeutic. I'm just giving you shit.
My eyes are even welling up because I'm being honest.
Awesome.
Like, I think
that's great, though.
I found it young because if I didn't, I don't know. My life was lived for me for a long time in a way that was not emotionally abusive. My life was lived for when I was growing up. Like, my life was controlled.
Oh, okay.
To an emotionally abusive way. So when I found comedy and I found people who could be open and say their darkest truths,
you're like, wow, this is fucking cool.
There's someone who thinks like me. Like, there was no one, I didn't relate to anyone. I didn't have friends because I felt like if I told them my darkest truths, they wouldn't be friends with me anymore. But comedians,
say whatever the
who
fuck
gives
you want.
a fuck? So like, I found it, and that's why I believe that there's a higher power, is because I was saved through comedy. Like, comedy saved my life. Like, and it continues to. And I talked to Al, and you said, Al, like, comedy saved his life.
Oh, I believe that. That dude, Al, if you listen, please don't fucking kill yourself. He's always joking about it. If he kills himself, I'm going to kick his ass. I'm going to beat the shit out of his corpse.
Al, we love you. I can do it too.
Al, we love you. Please stick around. You're a fun guy to hang out with.
But
please.
Comedy, and I feel like there is a power that puts certain things in your life, omens, when you look for it, because you need that. You need
that outlet.
If you just go into the nihilistic atheist look on the world, what's the point of anything? Like, you need something to push you forward. You need hope. Like, you really do, because what's the fucking point otherwise?
Yeah. And even though I gave you shit, I do agree with you that comedy is super therapeutic. And if you had a situation where you felt like you couldn't be yourself, and now you found something where you not only can be yourself, you better be yourself, or you're not going to be a good comic. So That's cool. That's
It was
that's
a
cool to
saving.
hear.
I didn't mean to go on that long tangent.
No, that was
but it
cool. I appreciate it. Thought that was cool.
Tell me your Sam Adams story.
Oh, yeah, we're getting way
Let's
too
change-
positive. Let's get back to the negative.
Let's get back. We're getting off the self-help. We're back to the Sam Adams story. I remembered.
Yeah,
I
this
can't
show
cry
has-
on this podcast.
This show has gotten way too optimistic. We need to go back to why things suck.
And why you got screwed over by Sam Adams.
So it's not so much that they screwed me over. I like to blame them as if I'm some prize. But basically what happened.
After that long talk, you're reevaluating.
Well, I got to be honest before I tell it. Because you're going to hear the story and be like, how did they really fuck you? They didn't do anything
Yeah,
to you.
no, I know.
So a comedian, a friend of mine, Mike Katrobis, who does a lot of acting and stuff like that. He's been in some movies and commercials. And he reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in auditioning for a commercial? At the time, I didn't even know what it was for, but there was a Boston casting was looking for comics with New England accents.
You have the best.
That's why
you
I
won
called.
an award for your accent.
That was actually post Sam Adams thing, but yes, that's true. So he's like, hey, they're looking for the accent. Thought of you. Comedian with an accent. He's like, boom, I thought of you. So I said, thanks, Mike. Of course I want to do it. So I reached out to the casting agent. Boom, set it up. And the first audition was great because I'm not an actor. I didn't give a shit. I walked in there and I could give two shits. I memorized the lines, which wasn't hard. There wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah.
Memorized the lines, and I went in there and I just horsed around. I just fucked around. She's like, she had me do it one like by the script, one ad-libbed. I did, made some jokes about the people in the room and left. Thought, well, that was fun. But then they called me back. And not only did they call me back, but she sent me this email that stressed the shit out of me, where she was like, hey, the director wants to see you again. And are you available such and such dates? Because if you're selected, we're going to need you to fly to LA. This is going to be an ongoing commercial where you can make a lot of money. That email stressed the shit out of me.
That sounds like why not just be like, hey, the director wants to see you again.
Just say that. Just say, hey, look, we don't like you that much, but for shits and giggles, can you come back up here? Say that. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, this is like legit. So whatever. I went back the second time, and honestly, I don't feel great about my second audition.
Because you were so stressed out about it?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I wish I could do it again. I'll tell you that much. I don't know. It happened so fast. I wish I recorded it like in my pocket or something so I could hear it. Although it made me make it more stressful. I don't know.
You'd still be sitting in your room rewinding it.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck.
It's just like you look like Christian Bale in The Machinist. Just
I haven't eaten in 2 months.
listening to, you should buy Sam Adams.
I don't know. I remember I made one lady laugh because it was intense. Because like you walk in, the second audition was way different. Big fucking light in your face, and you can see yourself in your monitor. And there's a table of judges like fucking American Idol. The director's here, and there's all these other fucking assholes with notepads and shit looking at you, examining you. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, just give me the guy. We'll talk. Why do I need all this shit?
Yeah.
But anyways, so which I should have just talked about that. I should have walked in there and just went off about how weird everything was. Because even if I didn't get it, I'd be like, at least I was being myself.
It's that same thought that you have with stand-up, where it's like, just be in the moment.
Yeah, and just be
comfortable
aggravated.
as yourself.
Vocalize your aggravation.
Yeah.
Don't internalize it. And that's, I don't know. I fucked around a little bit. I remember I made one chick at the end laugh. I don't remember what I said. I don't know. All I know is I get the fucking pot, and now every day I can see this fucking asshole on TV. He's on fucking Twitter. You see him on Instagram. It's fucking everywhere. There's a million of these commercials. It's the your cousin from Boston.
Oh, would you want to be that? That's selling
You know
your
how much
soul.
money that is?
That's selling your soul in a certain
Why?
way.
I act kind of like that guy. What's the difference?
Okay, I guess, but so Tom Segura almost was Jared's fat slob brother who would eat meatball subs for Subway.
Awesome.
But he talks about how, like, if he got that, his comedy wouldn't have He
But
wouldn't
he's
have.
successful. It's like, okay, Patrice O'Neal turned down a lot of big paying things, but he's fucking Patrice O'Neal. I'm some guy doing an open mic at a skew. I would take the Sam Adams money.
You don't think there's people like I look at you and I'm like, oh, he's someone who is actually able to support himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm
Pre-
married to
pre-
a woman with a good job, but pre-COVID, yeah, I made
And
decent
holding
money.
a relationship.
I made
That's
a decent. I
thing,
made a
like-
decent living. You're right. I'm doing good. You're right. I should just be thankful. I'm just saying. I see this.
No, I do
asshole
understand that
all the
fucking
time,
sucks.
and I'm like, that could have been me.
But
the
can't
negative.
you use that as the same motivation where like you got beat up and then you
Yes,
finally
yes.
choked out this kid? Like
more frustration.
you fucking didn't do this. You fucking are gonna use that. You
Yeah,
have
sure.
you have clips on YouTube that have more views than comedians dream of.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. I think the negative part of me thinks I blew the second audition. The positive part of me thinks, well, I think why I didn't get it is I don't have a Boston accent. I think that's what fucked me, maybe. Because it's Sam Adams, it's Boston.
Yeah.
I don't have a Boston accent. Now, to some person from Idaho, they can't tell the fucking difference. But from a director from Massachusetts can tell the difference. I don't have a Boston accent.
What accent do you think you have?
The Rhode Island accent, which is this weird, Rhode Island accents are like this weird mix. It's like some kind of weird hybrid between Boston and New York because, for example, I don't really know how all the accents work. All I know is I used to work with a guy from Boston, and I'll say a dollar bill, but he says a dollar bill.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I don't say that thing. I don't go dollar. I don't do that. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's why I didn't get it. I
How
don't,
long ago was that?
honestly, not that. It was like a year and a half. It was honestly probably a couple months before COVID hit. So I had just lost all my gigs because of COVID. This is a true story. I lost everything. I'm depressed. Quarantine's just beginning. I'm on the couch and my commercial comes on. The one I knew all the lines to, the one where he's at a wedding. I'm aggravated. I go to bed. I wake up the next day and I find out Tom Brady's off the Patriots. I wanted to throw myself off a fucking bridge. That's a true story.
Did the religion help? Having
I
belief,
guess
the
he probably
hopefulness.
He probably held me together. I don't know. I did complain a lot that day. I swore a lot, and it was St. Patrick's Day, I believe, that day too.
But you don't think certain people would quit because of that? Certain people would have.
Quit what?
certain-
What else am I gonna do? I can't quit. What the fuck else?
You
am
don't
I
think
gonna
people
do?
quit? People
Am I
quit.
gonna become an accountant? What the hell am I gonna do? I can't quit. I have
You
nothing else I
ruin-
could do.
You could ruin your relationship. You could get addicted to benzos. You could fucking. There's a lot of things you could do. There's a lot. You
Next
could
time
quit
my
comedy.
wife is aggravated with me, I'm gonna be like, please remember I am not addicted to benzos.
No, but you could go and be like, I guess I'll start working at a call center or something. Like, I guess I'll.
No, but see, then I would kill myself. I
That's
have
what I
to.
mean, you
Can I
need to-
urinate?
Yeah,
Can I
you
go
can go
please
urinate.
urinate?
Yeah,
I'm
of
sorry.
course. Go urinate.
Tell him a story about hip hop or something. I've been holding this in for a half hour.
We're at about an hour anyway, so we'll
We can just wrap it up when he comes back.
we're gonna wrap it up anyway when he comes back. But Ani, you and I will talk a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I guess we'll talk about this episode's coming out sooner than other episodes are coming out, but I'm
Mhm.
excited to go to Buffalo. For all my listeners, I'm going to Buffalo for West Side Gun's gallery opening, and I'm going to be filming an episode at Struggle Mike's studio with a rapper that I love, and I'm really excited for that.
Me too. I'm excited for you. I wish I was coming with you, but
I
next
know.
time.
You got exciting shit too. You're getting in studio.
I know. SDR has been getting some good guests. I mean, they have good guests anyways, but really good guests in studio lately. So that's been fun.
You've
But
been killing it. Do you want to plug your shop real quick? Because I've been looking at your candles and
Thank
all your other shit. You have been killing it.
thank you. I will plug that now. You guys can follow me at Ani_Moosh on Instagram and Twitter. And then go check out my website, AniMooshMedia.com. And you can follow all my art stuff at by_Moosh on Instagram as well. If you guys are interested in podcasts, we were talking at the beginning of this podcast with Brad, but I mean, if anybody's interested in starting a podcast too, you can also check out TooMuchContent.live, and Sam's Everything Bucked Up is on there.
No, my producer.
Shout out. shout out. So you can check out everything else there too, guys. So appreciate the plug, Sam.
Awesome. I know, of course. Thank you. That's the amazing producer, Ani Moosh.
Thank you, Ani.
Really great. But I'm really happy that we had this conversation. It's cool getting to know someone better. And as I said before, like, if I didn't have this platform, if I didn't have a microphone in front of me, I'd be too nervous to try to like talk to you. You know what I mean?
Well, Sam, I expect you to approach me about random topics every time you see me from now on. I'm a very lovable guy. I didn't expect to go into so much serious content. This was an awakening, is what it was.
This is what Bucked Up is, and I really appreciate you coming on. Do you want to plug your shit?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel called The Golden Mike, and Beverages with Brad is on there, of course, and my ridiculous stand-up. I would say that, and then my Instagram is The Golden Mike Productions.
If you Google your name, Brad Pierce comedian, it
Right.
has a blurb on Google that shows up. You've made it more than most comedians.
Well, thank you very much. I think what helped me too is that chick yelling at me at Gotham. That really helped me.
SJW.
Yeah, that helped me out a lot. I got like a lot of views with that. So she helped me by screaming at me in the audience. No, this has been really fun. See, this just feels so different. We get to talk about like real shit. I remember I've done like Alan Fitzgerald's podcast.
Dude,
and,
where's
like,
my goat?
Yeah, like if I'm like, hey guys, you know, I like bacon on my pizza. I don't know. If I talk about something or like, hey, I feel this way, they'll be like, hey, that's not funny, you asshole. Like they want every sentence you say on there to be hilarious, or they give you shit for it. This was nice to be able to relax on a couch and just talk about my passions for a while.
You can listen to my episode with Alan Fitzgerald. I like this more
It's a good
serious,
episode.
the serious conversations. I enjoyed that. Like I like to learn about you, and I hope the audience got to learn more about you. And I hope you can see Brad do stand-up, or if you sing karaoke, go to a Golden Mike Productions karaoke event. You can subscribe on YouTube, and thank you guys so much for listening.
Boom, boom, boom.